So listen Saturday afternoons at 12 p.m. for The Radio Rumble on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
I learned it by watching you.
We're back here on From the Press Box. I'm Rob Leonard. Across from me is award-winning sports writer Tim Leonard. As we talk sports every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WHPC. Streaming at the iHeartRadio app. We thank Bill Madden for joining us to discuss the hiring of Aaron Boone, which he helped break for the Daily News, which was a cool thing.
Which, by the way, hasn't officially been announced yet.
It hasn't. But
I don't know why. They had Brian. I saw Brian Cashman on an interview last night, and for whatever reason, the Yankees say or claiming they can't announce it yet. So Cashman wouldn't even say Aaron Boone's name. Well, so I don't know what's up with that or what the story is. Maybe they're just finalizing last-minute contract language or something, but he wouldn't speak about that. And that was when he talked about the Ohtani situation,
right,
with Ohtani saying that he wasn't going to come play for the Yankees. And so he was able to pivot away from the Aaron Boone stuff because now we had real news. So
right,
it was all of a sudden it was a big frenzy. Oh, no, Ohtani's not coming. And Cashman could just get away from the Aaron Boone stuff very, very easily because he had a different piece of meat to feed the media.
Didn't Matsui talk to him?
I don't know if he did or not. He said he was willing to. He didn't sound enthusiastic about it, though. His quote was something to the effect of, well, I'm an employee of the New York Yankees, so of course I will talk to Ohtani for the Yankees if they request me to do that.
Witness protection?
Dude, come on. Well, you're a Yankee legend, and it shouldn't be because your employer asked you to. You should want to talk to this guy about bringing him in to the greatest franchise in professional sports.
Well, I got to read something before we continue the show. By the way, every Monday, right here on WHPC, there's a show called Frontiers, hosted by Joe Whalen. He plays blues, bluegrass, British, and Celtic traditional music, along with country and acoustic folk. It's a variety of musical styles every week on Frontiers, Mondays 10 p.m., right here on WHPC. And I wanted to go back to the Yankees, the Giants, because you talked about how horrible it was and how it wasn't the right thing for the Giants to do. One thing I have to knock a little bit on this thing. First of all, the Giants never should have thought about this. They should have just.
In what regard?
They should have just said, screw it. We'll just let Eli, play it out. But, and this is the part that bothers me a little bit, and he got a pass for it. Eli was asked, basically said, we want you to start the game so you can keep your record, but in the second or third quarter we want to put in. At
halftime.
At halftime,
yeah.
Whatever. We want to put in, Gino or
no,
whatever.
Gino. It wasn't it wasn't or it was Gino.
Okay, so and he said no. He said he didn't want to do that.
Because what's the point?
But
the
point. Well, there's two things here.
All right, go ahead.
The point, first of all, is you continue your streak because he only's got 4 more games of doing this.
Doesn't matter.
Well, hold it. That's an important streak for a player. It's it is.
Let me interrupt you for a moment.
Oh!
Just
now you're going to interrupt me
for a moment, because
okay.
then you can continue. The reason the streak is no longer important is because Eli is right now is second on the list. If he adds 3 more games to
it doesn't
he'll
matter.
Still be second on the list.
Right.
He's still 80-something games behind Brett Favre.
Yes, I know.
That's 5 seasons of football.
Right.
Eli's not going to play for 5 more seasons.
He's not.
That's why it doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Okay. So the thing is, at this point in his career and in the Giants season, to play a half, so what? Why? I know he wants to play every down, but you know what? You also don't want to get that injury that screws up your season next year. So if the season's already lost for the Giants,
correct?
They can't do anything that can make them better. They really can't. They can't do anything. And even if Eli had the greatest last few games, it's not going to matter. So if you start the game and come out at the half, great. That means you don't get hit or hurt, and then next year you can come back. Whether was his contract up this year?
No.
Okay, but they're probably going to trade him. let him go.
They'll just let him go. No team is going to trade him. The situation that they created this week means that Eli is, for the most part, untradeable. Would a team sign Eli? Absolutely, but
I can think of 2 right now.
I could think of 7 now.
Well, first of all, Jacksonville. They need a seasoned quarterback for their team.
Yes,
and
Tom Coughlin is there.
Tom Coughlin's there. He loves Eli Manning. Loves Eli Manning.
You want to know another one? Denver.
Denver, really?
Where Peyton went. I watched their game yesterday.
Right.
Against Miami. Denver is horrible. 2 years ago, that was a Super Bowl team.
That's right.
They are horrible.
I know.
They've had 3 starting quarterbacks in the last 3 weeks. Trevor Siemian, Brock Osweiler, and Paxton Lynch. Paxton Lynch wound up crying last week.
Well, I would cry
because
too.
he hurt his ankle after one of the more miserable starts you're ever going to see a quarterback have. The Broncos are horrible, especially at quarterback.
But if they bring in Eli, does the team all of a sudden, snap out of this?
I'm not saying it's going to make them a Super Bowl contender, but right now they're a 4-win team.
Okay.
So they would be at minimum a 500 team with Eli.
Now, I don't know if the Jets would be able to get Eli, but the Jets, I think, would be a great team for him, for Eli to go to, in the sense that, you were hoping they were going to suck this year so they could get the top draft pick, whether it's a quarterback or not,
we don't know.
The Jets
probably, at this point, though, are probably still picking around 10 or 11.
Okay, but then do you go for Eli then? That's the question.
No.
I don't know.
No, because the Jets need to build for the future. They need a franchise quarterback.
Right.
Eli is not that guy.
But the franchise quarterback's not going to start next season. If the Jets draft a quarterback, let's say they get that lucky, he's not starting.
But the Jets are going to be so low that I think the only good quarterback is still going to be available, and this is even if he gets that low, is what's his name from Oklahoma, Baker Mayfield. And as much as I like some of Baker Mayfield's game, I think he's got a great arm. I love how he is in the pocket. He does not get rattled in the pocket at all.
Okay.
He is outstanding at finding just a foot and a half of space and just hopping right into it. And it's not easy for linemen to get a shot on him. And it's not like he's running out of the pocket like a lot of mobile quarterbacks do. He's a pocket passer, but he finds the space that he needs to operate. Now, that being said, I think Baker Mayfield as a human being is a disaster. And I don't know if I want to trust that Baker Mayfield with the future of my franchise. Baker Mayfield is also listed at 6'1", which means he's more than likely 5'11".
Okay.
All right? There's only one or maybe 2 quarterbacks in the NFL who are that small. Both of them are successful, I'll give them credit, but Russell Wilson and Drew Brees, they're rare.
Right.
So I don't know if
and those guys move out of the pocket a lot too.
Because they have to, because it's difficult for Russell Wilson at 5'11" to throw over a 6'7" lineman.
Well.
So from not only that, but to see over a 6'7" lineman. But the issue that I would have with taking Baker Mayfield that high is it's to me it's a risky pick.
Right.
And it's just because more because of the kid's personality. He's been arrested and tried to run away from cops. There's a YouTube video that where that happened. He last week was roasted after he was making obscene gestures at I don't even remember who they were playing last week, but that was an ugly scene, and somebody should be telling him, you're costing yourself money every time you do this stuff. Now, granted, the other team last week refused to shake his hand in pregame ceremonies. You got to be bigger than that. You have to realize I'm the best player on this field. I also need to be, or at least try to be, the classiest guy on the field. I know that doesn't come easy for some guys. But that's what he needs to do at this point to first of all raise his status in the draft, and secondly to erase some of the stigma that comes along with him as in the eyes of NFL general managers.
Well, that's a good point. But just one more thing about Eli. I mean, personally, I would have said, okay, you want to use me for the first half? That's fine.
Yeah, but that's you. I mean, he doesn't want to do that because he doesn't want to cheapen the streak, and I understand that. Because
that's not cheapening if you play two halves.
He wants to be the guy in as far as that streak goes. Like Favre, he played every one of those 297 games. I think there was one game he might have started where he had maybe like a broken thumb or something, and he played a series. But every other game he started and played 4 quarters.
Yeah, but it's a different day. It's for the Giants.
But like I said, it doesn't matter. He's going to be in second place no matter what.
I know that.
So, to me, I understand what you're saying, but you need to see Davis Webb in action. You need to see what you have. Because if you don't, then that was just a wasted pick last year. And I understand why the Giants made it, because they were thinking, hey, we're going to be a Super Bowl contender next year. We're going to win 12 games, and we're going to be, probably one of the last 4 teams in the NFC playoffs. Well, no, obviously something went wrong on the way to that merry old plan. But and I'll say it, Eli is part of that. Eli hasn't had a very good season.
No, he hasn't.
And a big part of that has to go to the offensive line and the lack of protection, and a huge part of that is the fact that he lost half or most of his receiving core all in 1 week, and has been throwing at basically nobody's most of the season.
Well, let me pass this on to you or as a question.
Yes.
Do you think the people who made this decision did the Eli thing to take away from the fact that the Giants have just had a really crappy year? If we do this, we take away we place not blame on Eli, but that becomes a story instead of the fact that we suck this year.
No, because let me tell you this. First of all, let me put this out there because we haven't said his name yet, or we barely mentioned his name. John Mara, the owner of the Giants, totally mishandled this and deserves a lot of the blame for what a disaster this turned into.
Right.
I'm not gonna throw this all on Ben McAdoo because Mara was involved in this decision. It wasn't just Ben McAdoo said, "Well, I'm going to bench Eli and I'm going to make the decision." It didn't happen like that at all.
No, and
Mara was on board.
Jerry Reese
was on board. Mara was on board. This was an organizational decision. It wasn't just Ben McAdoo acting on his own. That doesn't happen in professional sports anymore. You heard Bill Madden before talking about Cashman in the front office and all these decisions. The manager doesn't manage a game by himself anymore. It's everything is done by committee. That's why baseball people are so into analytics nowadays, because the game is basically drawn up for a manager these days. It's the same with the NFL. None of these decisions are being made by Vince Lombardi or anybody like that. That guy doesn't exist anymore.
That's true.
So this was an organizational decision. But again, anybody thinking that that Geno Smith should be the guy to end Eli Manning's consecutive game streak, I don't know how that happened. You can ask me in 5 years, would you rather have Geno Smith or Eli Manning starting? Eli Manning's going to be 42 years old. I'll still take Eli.
I would too.
All right? Geno Smith won't be in the league in 5 years.
No.
So I don't understand how Geno Smith all of a sudden becomes part of the equation of the Giants' future. He's not part of it. So that, again, this is what I said before. This is why Giants fans were so upset, because they see Geno as the Jets quarterback. He's that guy.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of Jets fans and a lot of Giants fans out there that the two teams hate each other. Me personally, I don't really care. I'm a neutral football fan. I freely admit to being a bandwagon New York football fan. If the Jets are doing well, I'm all for the Jets. Go Jets. If the Giants are doing well, I'm on the Giants bandwagon. I don't get that. My man House, he's a Jets fan, like rabid Jets fan, like does push-ups when they score, that kind of Jets fan. He hates the Giants. And I'm like, why? They play in different divisions. They almost never play each other.
You can't. It's not like the Islanders Rangers where you can't be what you just said.
But it's not even like the Mets Yankees. I mean, it's
for some reason there are people who are Yankee fans who hate the Mets and Met fans who hate the Yankees for no real reason, because they really, except for the boring games what cross league play is
interleague play.
It's turned into no one cares anymore.
No.
I actually wish they wouldn't do it anymore.
If anything, interleague play has, I think, softened